Okay, how are we doing for time? 1 second. Okay, we're right on time. We're going to be another half hour because I want to work through these other ones. Just we're here and we won't be coming back to this, so it's important to go through this. Okay, now this is Sigmund Freud's chart. We see his chart, and a little beep as my mouse is acting up. So the connection or something is, or it's getting, I'm not getting old. Anyways, I'll get it fixed. Try and fix it for next week. The his sun is in Taurus, just in the middle of Taurus. It's in this hexagram here, 3 solid, 3 broken, and it's in Taurus. But you see, it's in a dark blue section, so I can tell from here it's Taurus in the hexagram of Peace, in the pentan of Capricorn. You have to think the inside of Pentans to get to the second level, but it's doable, but not many people will do it like that. So in this chart, we see the sun there in the middle of Taurus, 16 degrees, 20 minutes. That's what we're looking for. 16 degrees, 20 minutes of Taurus. So it's Taurus, Capricorn, Pentan, 15 to 20 degrees of Taurus is feminine sign, 15 degrees is the solstice, Capricorn, 15 to 20 degrees is Capricorn. And inside of Capricorn is Scorpio. So you have the Taurus, the Capricorn planner, and the Scorpio intimate passion. So it sort of feeds his influence on the Freudian slip or the Freudian sexual interpretation. This is the sheet we have to look up his stuff on. Here's 16 to 17 on the first level, 16 to 17, Taurus, Peace. Hexagram W, Wilhelm's 11, hexagram 11, line 2. That's solid line, active. But it's between 1610 and 1620, so it's in the hexagram with the corners of the mouth, line 2. And that inside of that, it's going to be, you have to find the inner one inside of that. So you have to look, it's at 16, what was that, 1620, I think it was. 1620. So his will be, in this case, it's interesting because 1620, you would think, it goes 1640 to 1620. Where are we? 20. It's in line B in line 3. So in any case, we have this. So looking up is one thing. It says already it was a 6. It's in here. It's actually wanted here. It's actually in this. Here we are. On the finest level, we have the corners of the mouth. It's in the hexagram of standstill, stagnation. Within the corners of the mouth, within peace. Just thinking about the corners of the mouth. Yes, peace. His basic Taurus, one in the peace, keeping quiet. But the corners of the mouth. Well, we'll get to this. Okay. I have already a relationship to all these hexagrams, so I have an understanding. It comes right away from it, but that takes time to build up. So we have the Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio, main theme, special focus, and the hexagrams go inside of that, which are the main theme is, whoops, this is a little bit too big. Okay, here we go. The main theme is peace, second line of peace, hexagram 11. Goes, and the special focus is the corners of the mouth. And this hexagram, some of the hexagrams are given the pictures. This is the corners of the teeth below, teeth above, and a wide open mouth. So they get the corners of the mouth. That's how they got the name for it. I'm sure they had other names made by sequence before that. And then inside of this is the intimate detail is the standstill, stagnation around the corners of the mouth. So I find interesting corners of the mouth, you have peace, you have corners of the mouth and standstill, stagnation. Well, he's very well known for smoking his cigars. He loved to smoke cigars, but he got cancer of the mouth. And most of the last half of life, a large part of life, his whole embarrassment was controlling the rotting and the cancer in his mouth and trying to make it not show and being able to speak. It was a big problem for him when he was doing speaking and talking. Okay, so this time I'm just going for my own interpretation. Earth above, heaven below. The three lines for the earth, the mother above, the father below. Earth, receptive without, firm within. Acceptable force, creative sensitivity. One directs individual energy towards the needs of the group. And that brings peace. The image, sincere action. The right approach is important. One must be sensitive to the needs of others. To see the mother is favorable. Inaction will cause failure. A considerate initiative will be praised. To bring appropriate gifts will ensure success. Well, I like to see the mother is favorable because Freud, he had the sexual thing, but he also had the mother complex, and the sexuality and the mother complex that were kind of tied into each other here. So the okay. The judgment, receptivity without, creativity within. One has power but does not show it. He was always somewhat intimidating. He was the founder of psychotherapy. Jung was one of the students that broke off and went his own way, but he had his insights. He held it very strongly and strictly, but he was very formal. It wasn't, one has great power does not show it. One directs one's energy to the welfare of others. As long as one's person is unhappy, how can anyone rest? To give without conditions is noble indeed. One must not be pulled into unworthy activities or allow one's good intentions to be compromised. This is not the time to rely on others. It's the time to give freely. So this was an interesting theme because when you took it in terms of Jung and Freud, when he was a student and broke away from to do something different, it was because Freud had psychotherapy down on the sexual complexes and was thinking very yin-yang in a way. But Jung was bringing in mystical concepts, tarot, Kabbalah, astrology, mystical things that were not as structurally measurable. And it was a threat to his insights. So to allow one's good intentions to be compromised, one must not be pulled into unworthy activities to allow one's good intentions. So he had the intention to go a certain way and he wouldn't budge on it. And eventually Freud broke away to do his own thing. Okay. In this case, the family relationship, this is an example, a father to the mother, he acts, she reacts. When he acts to help, she is relieved. When he acts freely, she carries responsibility. He talks, she understands. He thinks for himself, she thinks for the family. He is firm in his ways, she is yielding. When he acts to make her life easier, she is yielding when he acts to make his life easier. Her life easier, there will be peace in the family. But this is, again, it's based on the nuclear family and the family traditions. It's still a little challenging in today's feminist world or interpretation today. The individual line, don't relax until the faces around you are smiling. Go out of your way to be helpful, make a difference. So it's like almost avoid aggression or anger, be more Venusian. To be sparing of words will increase credibility. To overindulge will diminish respect. The third one tries to do too much. Not everyone will be pleased or grateful. One's sincerity will be questioned. So these are just this uniqueness of adding this to his son, to his confidence, solid and even place, inappropriate action, firmness at the wrong time, no holding together. Okay, so that's basically the first level. The corners of the mouth, again, it's about partly the image of what goes into your mouth, what comes out. That's the traditional meaning. And what you put in is one thing. What comes out of your mouth really can cause problems. But I thought it was very interesting because he smoked cigars and got cancer from smoking cigars. They get cancer in the mouth. This was really a vital symbol for him. Keeping still above, movement below. That's the top teeth keep still. They don't move. The bottom jaw moves below. So you have the bottom coming up to join the top crunch. Movement at the foot of the mountain. It can be heard but not seen. The upper teeth hold firm, the lower teeth, the jaw moves. The image. One must impose limits on one's initiatives. Moderation is essential. Step quietly. In coming and going, restraint is needed. What goes into the mouth and what comes out will determine the outcome. Stillness and motion. Now it's interesting because he lived his whole life in the same place in Austria all his life except for the last year when Hitler was would have killed him. So he had to escape to England at the last year of his life. But he stayed within all that buildup of time and held together with his family, his wife and family, and really had to exercise the restraint to be there. The judgment, stillness without motivation, movement within, footsteps in the night, quiet as a mouse, movement that is not seen. The seeds must be planted and purified before growth can be observed. One must stabilize relationships and gain respect before one asks for something. One who talks will not achieve. One who achieves will not talk. There is no music without restraint, only sound. So the idea, you just get loose associations, but when I see this, seeds must be planted and nurtured before growth can be observed. Or before one asks for something, you stabilize relationships. So in a way, he had intense meetings with Jung, and I assumed he was the student who was taking it, but really it wasn't linked in the same way. They were going in different directions, and when they split, even before they split, it was a disruption to him, but it did represent a similar type of challenge. Go through all of these. These are all pages from my book on the sequence of change. To be sparing of words is appropriate. A good listener says nothing. Well, essentially, he did the Freudian slip, so he would sit there and listen and say, just say a bunch of words, and people would say one word, like sun, moon, daylight, sun, rain, moon, whatever, and suddenly something sexual will come and go, oh, or some word will come up in the middle of the random associations, and that word has the Freudian slip that has the intense truth inside of all of this. So one is sensitive and modest. One does not make matters more complicated for others. Silent and attentive. One keeps to oneself and will not disturb others. Modesty is a virtue. One knows when to stop. So these are the themes to his son, to his nature of being confident. If he's being confident, he will manifest these qualities. Broker and even place, appropriate receptivity, yielding at the right time, holding together with appropriate energy below. Normally he holds together with his students or with people listening to him or to his family. The innermost theme is standstill stagnation, which is a Mars-ruled frustration. So frustration, sexuality, Freudian complexes has a sensitivity when things get blocked or held in. Heaven above, earth below, light above, darkness below, strength without, receptivity within. One does not force one's way, but takes the advantage of the moment when it arises. One will act independently only after everyone else is taken care of. It will often be difficult to find time for oneself. The image. The meek will inherit the earth. Everyone has their place. If you are too forceful, you will be left behind. Do not distinguish yourself. The way of the mother is on the rise. Contemplate the situation, understand the circumstances of others. Action for the needs of the group is needed. For the need of the group is needed. This is the increasing night force, the increasing responsibility of this. So I can't just say this and say every line means it. It's a picture, it's a meaning, and you have to take it and see how the story applies, how the metaphor applies to the person. It's easier when you do it for yourself. It's really a dear diary therapy for your personal therapy when you do it for yourself. It's harder to interpret for someone else. Judgment, active without, passive within. Strong individuals within a group. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If the strong are self-interested and do not protect the weak, that community will not survive. Personal vulnerabilities will affect outer performance. If one considers inner sensitivity to be weakness, there will be cause for regret. So he continually had his vulnerabilities of cancer of the mouth and weakness in how he was speaking, and he had to be really controlled about his mouth and not showing that. And while he was having to speak, give lectures, and his Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio. So the Capricorn, he tried to make his influence in the most official, authoritative ways in universities and institutions. He was very structured in that.